I'm going to make an attempt at being cohesive, but I did not sleep much at all last night. I'm not sure why. I have suspicions. I think it might be because the world's burning, and my mind just wouldn't rest. I know Portland was on my mind because Portland feels like this new epicenter for police violence. And I saw some pictures and I heard some stories, and I'm fairly upset about what's happening in Portland just as a citizen of the world. And then, kind of like on the other side of the country, Florida feels like this epicenter for the COVID-19 pandemic. And there's like pandemics on the West Coast, pandemics on the East Coast, pandemics under the pandemics. I don't know. I just didn't sleep well last night. But I'd wanted to do this video for a while because I think last week or the week before I had talked about expanding 1 minute stories, possibly putting stuff on Patreon. And this week I've decided against that, which is funny because I built the website. I set my tiers for pricing and all that stuff. And it just felt like it's not what I want to do. I understand why I was pursuing it. I understand the brilliance of the people in my life who are suggesting it, especially because most of them just want to see me win. And I would like to win. Who doesn't like a good win? But it feels a little cart before horse for me. It's also a little bit at the moment not in line with my vision. So a couple of things. One, I must know at least 100 artists, and they produce really good stuff that I like. And I might get to enjoy half of 1% of their stuff, partially because there's just so much stuff in the world already to enjoy, but another part because of barriers to entry. Like, I have people who have podcasts that I keep meaning to listen to, but I haven't engaged yet. I guess because kind of like my life's already kind of set, and so it feels sometimes like a hurdle to try something new or throw something new into your life. But also because links, I gotta click on this link or that link, which seems really small and dumb, and it probably is, but it's also part of human psychology. What I like about 1 minute stories is that there aren't many barriers to entry. You don't have to go to Patreon. You can just be on Facebook or be on Twitter or be on Insta, and there's the story. So you can be wherever you're going to be anyway, and there's the story. That's part of the appeal for me. I want that. Another reason is with Patreon, it was like paid tiers. And the tiers were really low, like $3 a month, $5 a month. And I'm not even saying I won't do it later or eventually, but for right now, I don't want to do that because. So last week, I heard news about this bar closing, Cantab Lounge. And there's still this great poetry community, which basically they met there at the bar. I mean, the community still exists, but the bar is closing down. And it's literally the first place in Boston where I started going to do poetry, just spitting on the mic, writing more consistently, just listening to other people's words. It was a very valuable place for me, creatively, emotionally, personally. And they had a very reasonable and modest $5 cover. There were weeks when I wanted to go to Cantab to listen to poetry or do poetry, but I did not have the $5. And I certainly did not have the $5 in addition to the bus fare to get there. With the world's finest MBTA, so reasonably priced. But and I think about that sometimes, and like even like little annoyances, like how maybe I did have the money, like I might have like $7 in my bank account, and I would take that out to go to Cantab to pay in cash. But like some banks, you need to have a minimum of $20 to remove money through an ATM. Like you have to have a certain amount of money to be able to have access to your money. That's America. So knowing about those moments and still remembering those moments where I'm just stuck at home because I'm so broke, I don't have the $5 plus, was another reason why for right now I want the 1 minute stories to be accessible. I just do. And I want them to be kind of prevalent. Like I think doing 1 minute story every day has been the loudest I've been on the internet maybe ever. The most shameless I've ever been on the internet maybe ever, as far as like promotion and stuff, which is fine because I don't feel like I'm being inappropriate. But so those are some of my thoughts about why. I want to keep the barriers to entry low for now. I want to build a bigger following. The third thing. So whenever there's a project or a product or something, people always ask you, who's your target market? who are you focused on? And I find it to be kind of an obnoxious question and sometimes an impossible question to ask. But if I had to tier it in a hierarchy, I would say the first people I think about are people who are kind of tired of having other people try to sell something to them. Like whenever I leave the house, it's just a constant. It's so constant I don't even notice it anymore. Like just advertisements on buses, on signs, on windows. Like everybody, and it's just the way the world works. I wish it didn't, but so even like art that I might like is being used to sell something to me, and I don't want this project to be that. Don't get me wrong. I do want to, make money. I was thinking I might do a Venmo and just do like a tip your bartender campaign. I'm the bartender. Nice to meet you. But I don't want, it's just nice to have something where like, just person's not like directly asking for your money or asking for something for me, just wants to be a human, just wants to tell a story. I'm really just finding joy in that. And I don't want to ruin that. I do, like my people say, want to win. And I sort of know what that looks like, but not really, not yet. Ideas come and go. Like with Patreon, I was thinking it'd be like a legit, if I was in a position to do like a legit weekly show, like something like Last Week Tonight, where I can have like researchers and like have like dope ass storytellers and just like really collaborate and build. That'd be cool. But that requires more resources and more time. But I don't know. So Patreon for now feels a little bit far off. Another thing, a reason why I do these videos where I basically talk out loud, where I brainstorm out loud, it's super intentional. It's super intentional for a couple of reasons. Mostly the reasons is because I'm Black and because I live in Boston and the average net worth of Black families in Boston is $8 versus $247,000 for the average white family. And there is a lot of American collusion, which has contributed to that. I heard this really dope quote from Baldwin last week in a video where he said the only thing the ghetto lacks are barbed wire fences, because all that stuff was planned. And Black families with $8 net worth is not an accident. And that aside, there's just an emotional element where like Black people have been terrorized in America for centuries. And for as cool and creative and artistic and as lovely as we can be, we've also been terrorized. So we also kind of live with terror. Like there are days when I don't want to leave the house. There are days when optimism is just super hard. And if you don't have optimism, you don't have hope, if you don't have the ability to leave the house, it's hard to do something like brainstorm. It's hard to do things like think about the future in a positive light and think about how can I take this project and make it bigger. It's hard to find people who look like you who do that. So I intentionally just do these videos where I'm just brainstorming out loud so people can have that visual. All right, this dude's Black. He's been through some real hood shit, and he's still trying. Like honestly, I still remember when we were like super young and my homie, he had turned 25 and he's like, I didn't expect to live this long. I don't know what to do with the rest of my time here. And there was nobody in the room who did not understand what he was saying, what he was talking about. That's a horrible reality. So I don't know. And with all the other horrible things going on, I tell 1 minute stories. It makes me feel human. It gives me joy. I want to share it with as many people as I can, grow the project as much as I can. But also, while I'm in this moment of like brainstorming and thinking positively, just give somebody else the image of like, yeah, man, just sit down with your idea and ponder that. It's not crazy. The world's not so hopeless that good things can still happen. All right. That's my video for today, for the week. I think I'm going to do one long video per week sometimes just to kind of, I don't know, say stuff. Deuces.